Hello, I'm attorney Tammy Saltzman, and you are watching Divorce Connection Network. Today's episode, we are featuring Karen Roberts. Hi, Karen. How are you?
Hi, Tammy. Good. How are you?
Good. Very good. Karen has 24 years experience in the financial markets, helping women plan and understand money. Very important. She is the owner of the Emerald Financial Group based in Deerfield Beach, Florida. And today we're going to educate women and give them knowledge about what money really means and how to use it to your advantage. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think knowledge is power.
Absolutely.
And so the more knowledge that you have, the more powerful you are. I also think that when you have money and you don't understand money and you don't want to understand money, I think it's important to create a strong team of people around you who understand money and are going to protect your best interests.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Our goal at our group is to educate and empower people, women especially, so that they can go on and take control of their financial futures. That's really what we're all about, is the guidance and the education, because if you don't understand money, you can't ultimately take control of it.
So let's start. One of the topics you wanted to discuss is how stress affects money and how money affects stress.
Absolutely. A lot of people, because they don't understand money, or even if they do, if they have high credit cards, they're not sure how they're going to make their payments, causes a lot of stress. The stress then causes health issues, and then that causes more money to have to be paid out. So what we try to do is take the stress off of people and say, look, this is where you are. We get that. This is where we want to get to. How are we going to take the steps? A lot of studies have been done that if you can just learn to take control, so even if you are in debt, if you learn to take control and start paying off that debt, your stress will go down by a lot.
Right, and there's lots of options for taking control of credit card debts. Mm-hmm. You know, some people consolidate all of their debt and make monthly payments to one person. A lot of people cut their credit cards up and stop using them until the cards have a zero balance.
Correct.
Some people are so in debt that they're forced to declare bankruptcy.
Correct.
So I get all of those in my office when people are contemplating divorce. I think women are scared of how are they going to make it financially on their own when their spouse has greater earning power and more has been keeping them in the lifestyle.
Right. And that's one thing for women to understand as they contemplate divorce, go through divorce, or even post-divorce, that the lifestyle that you lived when you were dual income is not the same lifestyle you're going to have post-divorce. Because even if you're the primary earner versus the secondary earner, you're going to end up paying him alimony. So you're going to have a change in lifestyle, and you have to know that divorce creates a change of lifestyle. Now, a lot of times that change in lifestyle will be for the better, but you have to understand financially, what does all that mean? What does that house cost you? Is it worth staying in that big, ginormous house, or is it worth downsizing? And no one can answer that but you and a professional working together to determine where you are.
Right. So in most cases, we have alimony, which is considered income.
Yes.
We have child support, and those monies that are coming in, some are taxable, some are not taxable. You need to understand what you have to pay taxes on, what you don't have to pay taxes on. You have to understand your budget.
Right.
And what you can afford, as you said, each month.
Right. We've just lived through two different scenarios in our office. One was the man was paying lifetime alimony, and he just retired, and he doesn't have the ability to continue to pay. And they went back to court, and she got a lump sum, which was substantially less than what that lifetime would have been. On the flip side, we had a woman who's in the same boat, but she was receiving alimony for the last 20 years and never saved any of that alimony, thinking it was going to last forever. And now she's in trouble because there's no money coming in and she didn't plan for her future. You have to think of alimony as income and save a portion of that alimony so that when it stops for whatever reason, whether he dies or you get remarried or he runs into financial problems, you have to be preparing for your future.
That's very good advice. I know that a lot of women, they get this alimony, and, when you think about $3,000 a month, say, for alimony purposes, over a 12-month period, that's going to add up to $36,000. If you're in the lowest tax bracket of 10%, that's still going to be $3,000 that you owe the IRS,
Right.
and a lot of women are shocked by this.
Right.
Because they don't understand that they have to pay taxes.
Exactly. And you can help that because alimony, because it's considered income, you can open an IRA and you can help yourself with your taxes and plan for your future.
What a great
all at the
idea.
same time.
Right. So the more money you put away into an IRA, it's going to reduce your tax liability.
Absolutely.
So, and that's a good way of saving for your future.
Absolutely. Better to pay yourself than to pay Uncle Sam.
Right. And IRAs can be individual IRAs. You don't need to have a job or a 401k in order to save money into an IRA. So if you put a certain amount of money in, it's going to reduce the amount. I like that. That's a great tip.
Absolutely. And a lot of attorneys don't understand the financial part of divorce, and so that's kind of where we come into play, is understanding the financial side. I don't understand the legal side. I don't get involved in legalities.
Right.
I just help on the financial side, again, pre and post divorce.
Okay, so far we have two tips. One is to educate yourself, because the more you educate, the more knowledge you have, the more power you have in understanding your financial needs. And the second tip is that when you have alimony, understand whether that alimony is taxable or non-taxable, and understand that regardless of what your agreement says, things do change.
Absolutely.
And sometimes you're not going to have that income coming in as long as you thought you would, or forever. So you have to be creating a plan B while you're receiving the generosity of alimony.
Absolutely.
That's a very good tip, even for me. Okay. So when women downsize, there's like a stigma attached. And I always felt that, you're moving from a 6-bedroom house. That's what I did. I had a 6-bedroom house. I raised 4 children. And when I got divorced, I sold my house and I downsized. So the downsize was traumatic. But it's not like I live in a slum now.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So instead of a 5,000 square foot home, now I'm in a 3,000 square foot home.
Right.
It's still a beautiful neighborhood. Instead of 6 bedrooms, I have 4 bedrooms. And, you can get things that are one of the most important. I had 3 things that were musts for me. The first thing was I wanted to stay in the same school district so that my 13-year-old wouldn't have to change schools.
Which makes sense. A lot of people feel that way.
Right. And then the second thing that I thought was I wanted to be in a gated community. It gives me a sense of security for myself, for my child, and it allows me to keep out persons that I don't want to come in.
Right.
Which is also sometimes very important, depending on your situation. And then the third thing that was important to me was to have a pretty view from my backyard. I spend a lot of time outside, I garden, and I want it to be aesthetically pleasing. Now, I used to live on a beautiful lake where I didn't see any homes at all, and it was one of the nicest lots in my community. But now I live on a canal, there's homes across the way.
Right.
It's not as luxurious, it's not as elegant, it's not as aesthetic, but I still met my requirements. I'm on a canal, and so even though I've downsized, I've made my new home smaller and less expensive, just as beautiful and comforting.
Exactly, and that's a great story, which I think I might steal.
Please.
But it's not. The house is a structure. It is not your home, and your home is where you're comfortable, where your kids are comfortable, and where you're doing what you want to do. Because if your house is so big, where your electric is big, your water is big, and it's taking up all of your money, then you don't have the opportunity to do what you want. So was it really worth it? And it has a lot of memories that maybe you don't or do want.
Right. For me, it was a huge financial burden to hold the house.
Right.
Every single time something broke, I had to pay out of pocket.
Right.
Now, every time something breaks, I call my landlord. In fact, today I will be calling him to tell him the ice maker is not working.
Exactly.
And before, it would be me calling up a handyman or an appliance repair company to come in, and $200, $300, $400. The part is $800. I've heard so many things. The last time I had a problem with my refrigerator, I had to replace the entire refrigerator. So I would imagine that if you're going to stay in the home where you are, a service contract could be a very good idea too.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's where, again, if you are working with someone who can help you understand finances and help you make those decisions, I consider myself your unemotional partner. For me, it doesn't affect me whether you live in the big house or the small house. That's your emotions. I'm unemotional, and I'm going to tell you what makes sense financially.
I love that. I think that's really important. A lot of us need to hear this, even me, and I'm an attorney and I'm a smart girl. But sometimes I don't understand money the way I should either. So for today, we thank you for coming. Karen's information will be available on our website at divorceconnectionnetwork.com. We look forward to seeing you next time.